Okay, the time is now 7 o'clock. I would like to call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for February 26th and ask you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A roll call.
Blake Supernat, Tom Sankowitz,
Kevin Cunningham. Item C is to approve the minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting from February 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Selectmen on February 9th. I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Item D is public comment. Anybody here from the public wish to speak tonight? If you do, we have a microphone right over here, and you just have to turn it on.
Good evening, Travis Irons, 83 Green Hollow Road. I'm also the Plainfield Fire Chief. Dear honorable members of the Plainfield Board of Selectmen, on behalf of the Plainfield Fire District, I'm writing to respectfully request your consideration in waiving the building permit fees specific to the town of Plainfield associated with the construction of our new fire station on Railroad Avenue, totaling approximately $108,752. The fire district is amenable, however, to paying a portion of the building permit fee dedicated to funding the education of state of Connecticut building and fire code officials, approximately $2,827.55. The new facility is vital to enhancing our operational capabilities and continuing to provide the critical public safety services to the residents of Plainfield. As you are aware, fire districts in Connecticut have been recognized by the Connecticut Supreme Court as quasi-municipal corporations. This status acknowledges the essential public services we provide and our integral role within the municipal structure. Assessing building permit fees to the Plainfield Fire District essentially equates to double taxation of the town residents within our fire taxing district. These residents already contribute to the funding of the fire district through their property taxes, and then to require the district to pay a permit fee to the town, which is ultimately funded by the same taxpayers, presents an unnecessary and inefficient financial burden. Furthermore, we respectfully draw your attention to past practices within the town of Plainfield. Historically, building projects undertaken by other town departments and entities such as the Board of Education, Water Pollution Control Authority, Police Department, and the Highway Department have not been assessed building permit fees for work performed in their respective facilities. Given the critical public safety function that the Plainfield Fire District provides to the entire municipality, it would be challenging to not extend the same consideration to our organization. The construction of this new fire station is a significant investment in the safety and well-being of the community. Waiving these fees would directly benefit the Plainfield taxpayers by allowing more of the allocated funds to be directed towards the essential equipment, training, and resources necessary to effectively serve and protect the town. Thank you for your time and consideration of this important matter. We look forward to discussing this request with you further, and we appreciate your continued support of the fire district. Just some additional context for your deliberations tonight and consideration. Town records do show that in 1987, when the Moosup Fire Station was constructed on South Main Street in Moosup, all fees were waived. And when the American Legion Post ambulance garage, doing business as Moosup Ambulance, constructed their property, their new facility on Norwich Road in 2011, they paid what was called the municipal rate, which is the same 26 cents on the $1,000 that funds the building and fire code official education and required by the state. The same amount that we're amenable to pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak from the public?
Diane Talbot, 3 North Pleasant Street. As a taxpayer in the Plainfield Fire Tax District, I support waiving the fees for the firehouse. This is an essential service that we do need in our community, and I am already contributing my tax dollars to the firehouse and to the town. It just seems like it's one washes the other. It's just a strange one to be doing. And Travis spoke of past practice, but it's also future precedence, setting that standard for these firehouses to make improvements and expand. Our other villages don't have the resources and the funds that Plainfield has right now, and it would be a little bit of a struggle for them to have to come up with those fees in the future if need be. So I think it's also setting a precedence for the future for building and expanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Naomi Smith, Plainfield, Community Avenue. I also support exempting the permit fees for the fire department. I also agree with Diane, it sets a precedent moving forward. Also, considering that in the past there was discussion about an exemption for the municipal properties, and when that was brought in front of P&Z by our current selectmen, the planning and zoning discussed then that municipal properties could request for exemptions, and I would consider this property very much like a municipal property. Our fire department, the taxpayers pay for it. I think it should be exempted. It's going to be a trickle-down effect if it isn't, and the taxpayers are going to end up having, I'm sure, to pay the cost of it. And our fire department and our firefighters volunteer, so I think this is the least we can do is exempt the permit fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we go on to old business. We are having item E1, discuss American Legion ambulance fiscal request for upcoming 26-27 budget season. At the last meeting, we did talk about asking them to do an audit so that we can verify some of the information so we can move forward with whatever motion we would come up with. At this point, without having that, I would ask that this item be tabled.
I'll second that. I have a lot of questions concerning it, Kevin.
Okay. So I made the motion. Mike, you seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. I will reach out to them just to see where they stand on that so we know if we need a table or move it off and hold on to their audit at that point. We do need to be sure we talk about this and get it straightened out, hopefully before the budget season starts up, because we need to have those numbers. It could affect the mill rate. All right, item F, new business, consider an act on the tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $4,213.12. Darlene I. Smith, 1313, James P. Brissett, 4402, Kathy L. LaCharette, 227, Charter Oak Credit Union, $2,239.97, Charter Oak Credit Union, $1,589.
I'll make a motion to refund the tax collectors totaling $4,213.12 as read.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2, consider appointing a resident for the Inland Water Wetland Commission.
Obviously, we only had one application, or if somebody expressed interest. I would make a motion that we appoint Michael A. Desjardins to serve the term on the Inland Wetland and Water Course for the date starting on 2/24/26 to 1/7/30.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And for those who are listening, we're definitely looking for more people to join the different boards and commissions. We'll get into that a little later. But definitely thank you for that moving forward for Michael. Item 3, accept the resignation of a member of the Capital Strategic Planning Committee and a new member to the committee. Have your packet.
Sonia's looking to resign.
Yeah.
And,
And just a short point for a note. Rick didn't know about it. Sonia was willing to step forward, but when Mike found out, when Rick found out about it, he said, I'd like to do it, and that's how they worked it out. So one would resign, one the other one would take over.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resignation of Sonia Chapman and we appoint Richard Martell to the Capital Strategic Planning Committee.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your packet item number 4, which is discuss and act on dispersal of opioid settlement monies. We have been receiving monies for a long time for opioid. As you know, there is a Project Courage, which the Board of Education has been using for some of the monies we've been giving, and it's been, at this point, successful. I think they're looking to change out to go to another company. I would like to continue utilizing some of this money to go towards the Board of Education for different programs. But with $120,000 there, we can actually utilize that much better, in my opinion. You don't want to hold on to the money and wait and wait and wait. You want to be able to utilize it now and in the future. So we had an opportunity from the Northeast District Department of Health to be able to administer, as in your packet you'll see, some of the prevention services that they would offer, and it would be regional. They're looking for other towns to do the same thing, and with that amount of money we have, 120, I would like to propose that we do a $60,000 dispersion to the Northeast District Department of Health to be used for diversion programs.
And how much to the school, Kevin?
Well, the school, we're waiting for them to give us some numbers and what programs they're going to do. I'm more than willing to utilize that. We've used it also for smoking cessation, vaping. So I think I want to hear from them what they want, and we just have a meeting and be able to forward that.
Since I saw that in your agenda, actually, I talked to a few fire chiefs,
Yes.
some residents and everything else.
Yep.
Obviously, last time they had money to give out to the frontline people, emergency services. We gave them money at the last minute because we had to spend the money, so it was kind of a left-handed gift. So I kind of found out a little bit of information. So typically when they go out, there's about $50 per dose for Narcan that they give an overdose test. Usually, or typically, 2 doses of Narcan need to be administered. They also have to spend money on bag valve masks, oxygen movers, and there's other things there. We average approximately right now about 30 overdose calls per year in the town of Plainfield. I think that our first responders should get the first chop of this money that's due to the town of Plainfield, not NDBH or the schools who have their own budget. I'm not saying 60,000, but I think we need to talk to the fire chiefs and the ambulance service, who are our front lines, and see how much of this $120,000 they need, or what would be reasonable.
I think you're right. The issue would be moving forward with this. 60,000, I think, is plenty.
Yep.
Actually, is plenty. I would ask all the fire chiefs and EMS services what their needs are, and put a list together for the next meeting to come forward.
You got that, chief, that's fresh off the press, do some homework? Appreciate that.
As long as it's directed as required by the opioid usage.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, and we'd give them that, and they'd have to adhere to that.
No, Mike, I appreciate you providing that information. I know I spent some time meeting with our police chief and talking about just the opioid crisis in general and different services that we definitely want to make sure are offered. So, I'm not against the idea of having a regionalized service, but I like their thinking as far as first responders, so I certainly concur with them.
So what's your pleasure on this one, and we can then talk about the next one when I get a full list.
Yeah, I would make a motion to table it.
Okay. You want to make a motion to table, Mike? For a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item number 5. I'm sure you guys will love reading through all of the packets.
Yeah, thank you.
There is a lot of work being done by our town finance director, and she's been doing a great job. It gives you an idea of how we'd like to be able to do the framework of moving forward with the town of Plainfield with the finances. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but if you don't mind, I'll read through some things that highlights. So the capital government structured process for municipality to use the plan, uses of planning, funding, approving and overseeing the major long-term investments such as buildings and roads and equipment and infrastructure. In simple terms, it's how a town ensures that large capital decisions are strategic and they're transparent and they're fiscally responsible and compliant with the law. So the 5 policies that you have in your packet have a capital improvement policy, a capital strategic planning committee policy, a capital non-recurring fund policy, a town road fund policy, and a procurement policy, and they're designed to bring clarity and structure to the capital process. So those 5 bullets would be: capital improvement policy defines what qualifies as capital and requires a structured 5-year plan. The capital strategic planning committee policy formalizes the advisory process of reviewing and prioritizing long-term needs. The capital non-recurring fund policy creates a dedicated fund mechanism beginning July 1 of 2026, so we can plan ahead rather than rely solely on bonding and year-to-year decisions. Next, the town road fund policy ensures that the state-restricted roadway funds are properly segregated and used only for lawful purposes. Finally, procurement policy establishes a clear competitive purchasing requirements to govern how the approved projects are executed. And together, these policies create a complete flow for planning, for advisory review, funding structures, statutory compliance, controlled procurement. They do not create new spending authorities or bypass charter requirements. Instead, they formalize the structure, preserve the roles of the Board of Finance and the town meeting, and they strengthen transparency and reinforce long-term fiscal accountability to the town of Plainfield. Again, I want to thank our finance director, Lisa Mann, because she put these together for us, for the town, to be able to move properly going forward. So I know there's a lot to digest. The only 2 that I would like to key on for tonight were the ones I think I put a little paper clip on for when I gave it to you. I really want to have these on so that when we have our new special meeting, we can talk about those in particular. One would be to give guidance again, what I would say proper guidance to the Capital Strategic Planning Committee. And if you wouldn't mind just to be able to read through those again before we get to our special meeting, that would be appropriate. Same thing with our procurement policy. I mean, for those following along, our procurement policy may have had 2 modifications since 2009, minor. So the numbers are way out of whack. I mean, they're really way out. But this gives you an idea of what we're looking to do with it. And again, if you could read through that before the next special meeting.
Yeah, Lisa, I appreciate the time you put into these packets. It was a lot to go through, but I'm all about trying to reinforce our framework, and operate our government here in town efficiently. But I'm also wanting to make sure that we do our due diligence in getting input, because we're, of course, the one that adopts policy here. But before we make our decisions, I want to hear feedback. Obviously, give more time to residents, as well as some corresponding boards or commissions which these actually pertain to. I know when I was a member of the Board of Finance, procurement policy would come up quite often for discussion. Even though the Board of Finance is not the one who makes modifications to it, it still would come up when there would be questions financially. So I would be interested personally in hearing some feedback from our Board of Finance members as far as, do these changes make sense to you? And getting that prior to us making our decision. Now, as far as it being available to the public, these packets here, is this something that has been or will be made available on our website?
It's up to us to do that. My question, though, you're talking about making it available to the public and to the Board of Finance. These are our policies for the Board of Selectmen. Okay? This is something we've changed and modified over the years. Why are we looking for, and I've asked, why are we looking for input from other boards that it doesn't apply to? It applies to the Board of Selectmen.
There's nothing wrong with getting input before making our decision.
Okay,
we do serve the people of the town of Plainfield.
Absolutely we do. But again, this is to the Board of Selectmen's use of that policy. I just want to make sure that we're not going to hold off and take a couple of long sessions to be able to pass this. I do remember that the 2% set aside took almost 2 years. I don't want that to happen again.
This is not going to take 2 years.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to make sure, because you're going to open up to the public, have their input on it. You're going to open up to the boards and commissions, have their input on it.
But then again, I guess for clarification, is there an exact deadline as far as when we have to adopt all these policies?
Okay.
That's up for us to decide.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I also want that to be emphasized, that we're not under the gun here to have to get these passed tonight. I think it's a good starting point, and again, I appreciate the work you put into it, but I do think we need to consider input from the public. Now, is it going to get a lot of input? I mean, we see obviously what our turnout is at town meetings. We see what our turnout is at regular meetings, but nevertheless, it's opportunity. And I would rather wait and see, if maybe more people will come out, because this is a number of structural policies that we're considering. And if that's not the case, then at least we can say we were given them the opportunity to do that. But to do things, I'm sorry?
Some of them actually require Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen.
Mhm.
Just so that's noted in those comments.
Yeah, the one thing I'm just not always open to is when we're discussing something for the first time, and then, make it seem like we need to, decide on this, now, that's not always the case. Now, sometimes the budget, obviously, the budget has a very strict timeline. We have to stick to our calendar for the budget, that's a different story, we have to stick according to that. But when it comes to different policies that we as a Board of Selectmen can consider, we can also revisit them at later times, too, if we feel that there's some changes we need to adopt.
Thank you, Lisa, for this. Thank you, Kevin. I read over the procurement policy in particular because I know how great it was. It's memorable. It was a great update, and I'll obviously pay more attention to the capital strategic for the next meeting. We'll see where we go. But nice job on all of them, and on the presentation of the budget too. Thank you.
Okay, so if we can review that again at the next special meeting, I would appreciate it. Next one up is
Ruth.
Yeah, roof. So we have had an issue with the bus garage roof, amongst other things over the bus garage. We're attending to all of them. This was put out as a RFP, specs were written, bids came in, and you have in your packet on item number 6. Another, it's the actual RFP itself, plus all the bids that came in.
So I have a couple of questions, Kevin.
Sure.
Just to clarify, so I see there's a second sheet in here. So we have the long sheet
Yep.
that has all the bids on it, then we have a second sheet, which was probably what was taken down at the bid opening.
At the bid opening, yes.
Okay. There's quite a few numbers that don't correspond, which is on this over here.
I'll try my best to answer.
So the numbers are different. So guaranteed roofing on this sheet with the red line is $18,475. On the sheet from the town, it has 18. What was the difference? I'm sorry.
It was 18,475. It was up top, second one down.
And then was it the roofing store? I had one that was different. Trying to match it up. Oh, the Imperial Company, sorry, the Imperial Company has 43,000 here, and then it has 81,000 over there, and I don't see 81,000 on a line item anywhere. So that was weird to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It was the roofing store that had the wrong bid on it also. If you look at the roofing store in the town's chart, it says $19,488.01, and if you look at the roofing store, I'm sure it's $19,458.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a typo, but I want to make those clarifications.
Absolutely fine.
And those fixes to those.
Yep.
And then my next question is, with those numbers read off of this sheet, is this the correct numbers? And then obviously, this is the town's numbers, but what sheet should we be looking off for the correct numbers?
All right, so fortunately I did have someone who was at that opening and he can explain it to you, so maybe
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind. And by the way, we had asked them for multiple things. I'm sure you're going to reiterate that. We asked them for multiple things. One was a base,
Yep.
and the other one was with if we wanted to do a rolled roof, a metal roof. So you guys probably have the different numbers.
I saw those,
Yeah.
but they were easy to follow on the base.
Yep.
Yeah, so just to explain a few things, and Sean Spab, CLA engineers, town engineer for Plainfield. So just to touch on those discrepancies real quick. So for Imperial, and if you actually went to Imperial's bid, because you should have their full packets there, Imperial in their base bid, what they had listed under their base bid, actually included other alternate bids. I believe that Imperial also included, so the way that everything was broken out, to try to keep everything, it was a complicated bid, but to try to keep it as simple and as comparable as possible, multiple things were broken out. So, so that's base bid, sheathing, and then we had alternates, rolled roof, shingled roof, metal roof, and then we had an other section where people could add, other items. So, when those bids were received, and Imperial in particular, I don't have the full packet there, but if you went to their bid, I believe that they included their shingled roof bid in their base bid number that was read at the meeting.
Okay, so that would have came out
So-
to 43,000, not the 81,000 that was on the.
Correct. So I changed that so it would be comparable to the other bids. Because when you look at it at first glance, it looks like they came in, double what everyone else did, but they actually just included that in their base bid. So I did organize that a little bit better, just, on the notes that they had there.
I just want to make sure that these are right whenever.
Yep.
And then also, obviously, it was just a typo on the roofing store probably.
And then for the roofing store, they actually included the sheathing. So the sheathing was broken up per sheet because we don't know the condition of the sheathing. We don't know if there is sheathing. So that could make a big difference. And I didn't want to just include it as a base bid item because some people are going to come in higher, some people are going to come in lower and not know what they're actually bidding on. So that was bid per sheet, which was kind of confusing, but the roofing store had included that sheathing per sheet in their base bid.
So that's why the $30 difference.
So that's why that $30 difference. And that's, if you go to their bid, again, in their packet, they have it in there and it says plus sheathing. So that's where that $30 difference came from right there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I broke everything down. Everything doesn't match perfectly, but I broke it down to make it as comparable as possible for when you're making a decision on which bid to go with.
And my next, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
And my next question is, Kevin, is obviously if you just look at it and you go down the list, the lowest bidder is in here, but then the second lowest bidder is a local company out of the town of Plainfield, and then we can invoke obviously the town ordinance to the 10% and allow them the opportunity to match.
Correct. That's how it would work, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure before we take any action.
And that would make it so that in your motion, you could say if this would be your motion,
Yeah.
that you were looking to have the roofing store if they can match the guarantee bid.
That is correct.
Okay.
Do you have anything, Tom?
No, I was looking at the clarification for those numbers, but I think that was my only question.
So, with that being said, I would make a motion that we award the bid to the roofing store at $18,475 if they can match the lowest bid of Guaranteed Roofing, who bid the same.
And with a backup of if they cannot match it, then it goes to the,
It goes to Guaranteed Roofing, who is the lowest bidder.
it's not a short, I'll do my best.
All right, and you can read it again.
Yeah.
We'll work it out.
I will second that.
As read?
Yes,
Any other discussion? I would say that it was a lot of work that was put together by Sean. The reason we broke it down was we were looking for alternatives in case we had something that might work better for us. But we found out that, if you're looking for a metal roof, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be appropriate, as you read, for the matching from the roofing store. If they can match the guarantee number, then we award the bid to them. If not, then it defaults back to the guaranteed roofing.
Right.
Okay. A motion's been made in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we come up to item 7, which is discuss and request waiving of building permit fees for the Plainfield Fire Department Fire Station Construction Project on Railroad Avenue. First of all, I do appreciate the chief coming out and speaking on behalf of that and the citizens as well. This is a difficult one, and I think that setting precedents is kind of an important thing. What was done in the past, I can be very honest, I don't know if what was done in the past was even appropriate, because you had the then building inspector signing off on the waiving. Didn't go through the board of selectmen. So all the papers that I found were found for me were stuff that was actually found by way of, you find the Central Village, and they had a waiving of the fees to the then building inspector. You had, as mentioned before, you had Musa was also a waiving of the fees, again by the building inspector, exempt. Oregon, some modifications were made there for the firehouse, again, a waiving of the fees for them. And again, I don't know if this is appropriate, I'm not saying appropriate, if this is the right thing, did they do the right thing? Because I don't know if they had to come through the board of selectmen to get those waived.
Well, you know why they waived them, Kevin? Common sense.
Okay? And I think the other issue that I have is, does the taxpayer goes out of one hand into the other? Yes and no. I mean, I think you can appreciate the fact that what I'm going to say would be, you've got the 4 villages, and all 4 villages would be, first of all, I have a question for the chief, and I'm going to put you on the spot and ask a question. Maybe, it's my opinion, but maybe it's about time that all 4 villages got together to make a fire department and have some sort of structure underneath it, because these items here would be a little easier to deal with, because you're asking for a waiver of the fees from the village of Plainfield, and now that money would go into the fund balance. And then that could be used for other items, not just Plainfield Village. So does that make it, I hate to say the word, but unfair to the other villages that they didn't have access to that money or have the same opportunity? I don't know. I really don't know. But I tell you what I did do. I did look at this as a different way of, waiving of fees. I asked our town attorney if he's had anything like this ever happened before. I'm waiting for an answer back. Personally, I want to wait for the attorney because I think he can give us a better guidance on this. Do I have a problem with waiving the fees? Not really. It's just a matter of I want to make sure we do right for that issue of precedent, setting precedent for future. So that's what I would like to do. I want your input. I know, Mike, it's difficult because you're talking about, that's also you're on the board of directors, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And it puts it really solely that you would have to recuse where I had to
I
have.
disagree. I'm not recusing myself on this because I have nothing to financially gain.
Okay. What your fire department does.
That, my fire department does. No, the taxpayers of the district of Plainfield have something to gain because they're not paying double taxes. I also don't have children in the school, but I pay educational taxes. I also don't use the sewer or the public drinking water, but I also pay those together. So there's a lot of things that I pay that I don't financially use. I think this is the same exact scenario. I know you're against it because you want the $108,752 to spend on some pet project. It's not going to happen.
Not at all. What I'm looking at is, because actually, my first thought was actually dividing it by 4, so the other 3 villages aren't, in my opinion, penalized, so to speak. And that would be my motion if I put it forward. For now, I don't know what the attorney would say.
Kevin, can you make sure that whatever response you're getting from the town attorney, can you make sure you provide that in writing?
Sure. I'll give you the actual email back from him.
And I would like to know what you asked, because you went on your own and asked without asking us what our opinion on it. I'd also like to know all the surrounding towns and what they do.
There's a lot more homework, and that's why I wanted to table it.
I would just say I'm in full support. I appreciate the chief coming out tonight and giving us, his thoughts there. And what I like in reading here from the Office of the Fire Marshals, I will say the lines under exempt B. Board of Selectmen, upon written request from the applicant and with approval from the Fire Marshal's office, may waive any fees listed in the fee schedule for the good of the town of Plainfield. I like the wording of that just because it leaves it at our discretion if we feel that it is for the good of the town of Plainfield. And for me personally, I do think it is for the good of the town of Plainfield. What's done in the past is in the past. It's true, Kevin, sometimes there may have been things that were out of practice. We can't change that, what happened 40 years ago. But as far as going forward, I would like to see us support our fire district. And I would say the same thing for anyone. This is not special treatment for Plainfield Fire District. If any of the other 3 departments came to us and had a similar request, I would definitely look into supporting them as well. Even though we are 4 separate fire districts, we are one town. I mean, the departments work with each other, they train with each other. I support the volunteers, who have been years and years in these departments and what they do for our town, and I really don't think it's asking a lot for us to consider waiving it. So for me personally, I think this is a reasonable request.
And also, they're on each other's mutual aid automatic requests. So Musa, Central Village, Warrigan are benefiting because Plainfield's responding to all those towns. And just like we complain about these boards tabling things and things waiting 3 months because nobody wants to make a decision, I'm not about that. I really don't care because what we're doing is legal. It's in our laws. I'm going to make a motion that we waive the building permit fees for the Plainfield Fire Station for $108,752 and still pay the the $2,821.55 educational fee, which is required by law to the state of Connecticut.
Are you accepting this to be an action?
Oh, do you have a motion on the floor?
I will second that motion.
So for further discussion, again, you don't want to wait until we get the information back from the town attorney?
I made a motion.
I'm just asking a question.
No, I'm not waiting. Because this project has been moving forward for years. You've been asked this in the past. You did not do anything with it on just conversations that people have had with you. And then here we are, they're starting to do the project over there, and you're bringing it up and you want to table it and prolong it. You've known this for probably approximately 2 years.
I got a formal request. I'm acting on a formal request.
Yep. Motion's been made and seconded.
I'll still second the motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will abstain. Motion did carry.
And why, can I ask why you're abstaining? Because I want that
I
on
really
record.
don't have to tell you why, but I think you heard me. I wanted to hear it from the attorney.
I just want to make sure that all the first responders know
Yeah.
where their support stands.
Again, we're setting precedents. That's my issue, setting precedents.
Thank you.
Item 8, which is to set the annual town meeting date for the annual audit report. You were aware that we did get the audit. It was presented in front of the Board of Finance. Now it's our job, according to the charter, to set a date. Here's our calendars.
Does it have to be a specific day or time, Taylor?
Yeah. Well, something that's open and available.
I think you were looking at the 12th at one point in March.
I was going to have it on the 19th. Unfortunately, the 19th has the special, we have two things going on, economic development and the capital. Yeah. So I think the 12th was the only day available.
I'm good with that. You good with that?
All right, yep, I'll make a motion to set the annual town meeting for Thursday, March 12th, 2026, 7 p.m. here at the town hall.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
March 12th, 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. I don't think we have any other item. Check. There was a person who wanted to follow up with do a follow-up, and I'll give you copies of what her email was. She wanted to do a follow-up on the veterans tax exemption proposal. You have them already? Yeah. And the additional land provisions. So I think we can bring that forward at our next meeting.
Kevin, the only other thing I'll just mention under other is has there been, now that we're past the brunt of the storm and knowing that this has been a multi-day cleanup, is there any reassessment or follow-up in any of the secondary roads? Because I've had a number of citizens who's reached out to me, not so much about when they had a plow that came on their road and if they hadn't seen one for a long time, but more or less like a follow-up cleanup. So meaning like there might have been some stuff left behind or that couldn't have been initially gotten. So I told them that I don't know if what the timeline is on that, but I certainly said we could bring it up, to mention it.
We're working as fast as we can with both the state of Connecticut and our town and highway department. Right now, after the major cleanup of the 27 inches that we received in some parts of the area, we are working diligently to clean up all the roads at multiple passes. You heard that the Board of Education started back up again. They had multiple issues with secondary roads. We're still working on those. We're also working when you go to a stop sign, a sightline issue. And I know Mike even ordered off one to me. There are a lot like that. And a lot of them have a combination of a state road and a town road. So we have to do a determination of who's that. But I tell you, I reached out to the state of Connecticut, the local, and they are willing to work with us and helping with clean up on those corners.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And it's just clarification for the public. It's like, of course, they're working as fast as they can. They'll get it done when they can get it done, but at least the public can know.
that is being looked into.
Absolutely, and every single one of the people that had made messages to me, emails, messages, or the stuff that I saw online and social media, I went out and checked those roads. I didn't have an issue with any of the roads that were being built. Look, it took a while to get to some of the roads. We had multiple breakdowns, we had multiple accidents, we had multiple issues with not having enough equipment out there.
Getting stuck.
Getting stuck everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had people who were, we had, one road had 3 Eversource trucks that were stuck. 1 town truck stuck, 2 residents stuck, all within a small area. But it took a little time to get those cleared out of there, and we did. It's just taking a little longer. Obviously, you've got a major storm after a major storm. So it just keeps on compiling. We're trying to do our best. I would try to ask the residents just to consider now their roofs, because that's the next phase. You have that compounding effect of how much is weighing on your roofs. We had an issue here at the town hall, we spoke about it last time. We're doing proactive work on it now by trying to clean it off now. I can tell you there's a brand new building in town which we're very fearful of because they have not cleaned it off once. And so we're reaching out to them to just let them know that we're concerned. You know, everything has, you know, a step. Now we're hoping that there's no follow-up storms over the weekend, or I heard next Tuesday possibly. So we're trying to keep ahead of it. So for those residents who are concerned, I want to say thank you to, you know, your highway plow, to the police working through all of those issues, dealing with support for the fire departments and also EMS. It's difficult. It's really difficult. But we're working on it.
And I think they're still gonna be out tomorrow all day and Saturday, right? We're planning on it?
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
No, thank you.
There was anything else?
If there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mike, and we have 7:41. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Time is now 7:41. I'd like to call, 7:42, I'd like to call this WPCA meeting to order for February 23rd, and do roll call.
Mike Supranowicz.
Tom Sinkwitz.
Kevin Cunningham. A motion for 3 would be to approve the minutes of the special WPCA meeting dated February 9th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the special WPCA meeting minutes from February 9th.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item D, public comment. Anybody here from the public wish to speak on WPCA? No. We go into item E1, discuss and act on a sewer exchange, use change for 1016 Putnam. You should have in your packet, Water Pollution Control Authority for 1016 A through C on Putnam Road. They received an email from the property owner. Should be attached in there. Regarding sewer use, after review of the units in the building, the sewer should be reduced from 8.68 to 8.34. So the property consists of a central station diner with 3.34 use, 3 apartments, 3 uses, 1 barbershop, 1 use, and 1 vacant, 1 use. If we all agree upon that from that review, you would just make that motion to change the sewer use at 1016 AC Putnam Road from 8.68 to 8.34.
Absolutely. I make the motion to change the sewer use at 1016 AC Putnam Road from 8.68 to 8.34.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item up on the agenda would be for discuss the proposed sewer extension of the main line up to 954 Norwich Road.
I'm all for
We
it.
have a gentleman who will allow, if it was okay if you could speak for us to help us out.
Okay, see the numbers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Luzak, professional engineer with Civil Solutions. I'm representing my client, Roman Construction, on a request to hook up property at 954 Norwich Road to the source system. I have some updated plans for you. Have you seen it yet? I have, yeah. Definitely seen that, right? Yeah, this is better.
Yeah, we have the small version.
Yeah, I couldn't read actually.
Thank you. Yep.
Essentially, where that started from is my client, Rum Construction, has a pending building permit for a new office building at 954 Norwich Road. We initially were going to go with on-site septic disposal. Working with the health department was long and tedious, and the soils weren't that great, so we looked at other alternatives and realized the sewer line wasn't that far down the road, and so we decided to pursue that. Went in and talked to Stephanie with your WPCA, or I'm sorry, with your treatment plant. Talked about different options, and she suggested that I put something together just as a draft to then bring in front of this board to see if it was even something you guys would be okay with. If that's the case, then I'd like to get some kind of a nod from you folks to say go ahead and go further with this, work directly with town engineer and Stephanie to come up with the details and the cross the T's and dot the I's situation. But what you see now in front of you here, and just to give you a quick oversight, the existing manhole stops here now at front of property 926. There's a manhole number 18, and that manhole is quite a bit off the road, on the east side of the road. In Norwich Road itself, there's a gas line. There's a 12-inch high-pressure gas line in the, we'll call it the north lane, and then in the south lane, there's a 12-inch water line. So the sewer line now is currently off the road, and we'd like to continue it south along that edge of the road. Initial conversations with John and Stephanie was, to do it all gravity. We wanted to do it just with a pump with a force main. So I said, no, if you want gravity, we'll do it with gravity. But when I came down to really putting pen to paper, as you see on this plan, we ran out of ground pretty quick. So from manhole number 18, which is your last existing one, we can extend approximately 290 feet south before we run out of grade. I mean, we're about 3 feet of cover at that point. So what we're proposing is that we do a gravity line there, continue the 8-inch line at the existing slope you have now. You're running about 0.4% slope. We'll run that, provide laterals to, I think there's already a lateral provided for 926. We would provide a lateral for 932, and then we provide a lateral for 940. After that, we're into force main, and we could, not get too far into details, but that force main could be 2 inches in diameter, which would be adequate for our purposes. If there was a need to hook another property to it or future properties, we'll discuss that, how far we want to make that. We want to try to go a little further. The problem is if you make a force main too big and you don't have enough flow to go through it, it comes up pretty quick. It doesn't really work. So I'm more than happy to work with your staff to figure out what we should do there, but ultimately the goal is we need to provide sewer connection to 954.
So I might ask you to come over here just for a minute, just so we can verify everything. What we're looking for is the force main from your property down until we get to a certain point, and we're going to gravity fit.
Yeah, if you look at the profile here, this is your existing 2 lines right here. This is how far it goes now.
Yep.
We've extended an A's line another 290 feet to a new manhole.
Okay.
And then from there, you can see this is only about 3 feet of cover. If you continue that slope, you'll see you start to come out of the ground, like the up right there. So at that point, in order to maintain cover of the force main at 4 feet, we're down here, we're another 200 or so feet. And you see at the plan view, here's your 2 manholes here. We've extended gravity 290 feet to this manhole, and then we go force main down to the pump station.
So your last access to a manhole is in this area?
Quite a bit of distance. I know there was talk about trying to hook up down here.
Yeah.
And that's, we could discuss some things, that we could do to facilitate that in the future, but there really is no, put a force main in that was big enough to go all the way down here to accommodate that, you would need that flow to get through there, because just a small amount of flow would come from here would not go through the point pipe.
Yeah, because you have an office area, you probably don't have a full, huge staff.
Quite a lot.
Okay.
No shower, no long and stuff.
Yeah. And of course, the town would love to have access to help and accommodate this area.
No, and there's things we could talk, again, with the staff, or otherwise, we could, have an open trench there if you want to have a small pipe to serve this property, and a larger pipe for future use. They want to contribute the cost of the pipe, the holes there to put it in. It's a lot.
I mean, this is something that I would push over to as far as getting you an idea of what we're looking to do here, what's being proposed. I don't have a problem with it. I like the idea of being able to, in the future, accommodate to be able to get that area done as well, because it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, I understand, but obviously we're trying to solve.
I know.
Yeah.
You're taking care of yourself.
Not to be selfish, but,
No.
we're trying to do that, and if we can do something to accommodate something else in the future,
Mhm.
we're going to do it.
But your force main would then end up with a gravity fed further down? Is that what that?
Gravity fed will be 290 feet long, correct? We're only extending what you have, right now you have gravity now.
Yep.
Okay. So here's the intersection with Millbrook.
Yep.
There's a manhole here, there's a manhole here, and we extend, to another manhole, and that just stops. So I don't know if these two houses are even hooked up to sewer,
Not.
but they probably have laterals already. So what we can do is continue from that manhole, see what's going on here, 290 feet, where we want to grade, provide one connection there, one connection here, one there, for these two houses. And then at that point, we have to go, force main.
Mhm.
Even in that force main, we can provide one lateral connection to this property. It's small.
So providing accessibility for 5 houses. At this point.
We've already had accessibility, we're adding, providing the one for us, we adding here. And then you're getting that much closer, to go further, and if you want to, let's say, how about putting a pump station somewhere?
Well, I know that we'd be working on that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be a bigger project, but just wanted to point out, you see the property lines here, they really flare out in this area, but here's the road itself.
Right,
There's
that was
a lot of state property on that side, nothing. That's why we're kind of working that side. Bring it anywhere else, you're crossing the water line and the gas line. It's a big right here, was running the gas line.
I don't have any problem with doing it, but I do want to have our engineer give us an idea of what the concerns are that he would have.
Yeah, well, so I just 2 questions that I have for you, Jim. I guess the first one, because I thought about the top of my head, would be Eversource and that gas line. Do they have a minimum setback for that gas line, or anything that needs to be maintained, or anything? That would be just a question, you don't need the answer now, but just.
No, I think it's good, I think we'll try to 18 inches. Yep. So anything that utility tractors, we want to keep the minimum 18 inches separation. We are going to be running slightly below that, so we have some vertical separation as well as side by side. That, from what I gathered from Eversource, that gas line is about 30 inches.
Okay. And then horizontally, how far?
Our tightest point is right here, just squeezed here by this one telephone pole. Now, one of Stephanie's biggest concerns was she wanted to get out the road because she was worried about the telephone poles. Unfortunately, that one there is still stuck out close to the road. But as you can see, they've already moved these two back to the property line. And I'm sure that as these deteriorate, they'll be moved back. Yeah, you can see they're already being pushed back, because that way the road can be expanded, it can be lengthened to where there, that's where the right way is.
Well, so yes, so just that distance to Eversource would be a big question. So we have to work on that line, or Eversource has to work on it. You know, we have to take ownership of anything that's in the state right away, right? So we would be taking ownership, just so everyone's clear. Even though, David paying for the work to be done to be extended, you know, we, at the end of the day, because it's in that state right away, we as a town would have to take ownership of those lines. So that would be our liability, our responsibility to maintain up to the proper line. You know, as soon as it would be turned over. So we all understand that. So that would be my question. Just the distance to Eversource, do they have a distance, you know, recommended distance, can we make sure we maintain that? You know, that would, and that doesn't need to be worked out right now, that would just be something, you know what I mean?
And that's, you know, we'll get all of the details.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't want to go too far down this path without having some.
Idea of what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem, I also want to ask, is it, who would be reaching out to Eversource to see roughly when they would be pushing those two back?
I think it's like, yeah, they would have an answer. It's more of like when someone consider it falls down and when they put it in, they bring it in typically.
Mhm.
So if there was somebody who would move these two poles, to do a pole and back it in. And I think that over time, it's just like that, that we should back out close to the road.
I think I know why those two were moved, I don't know why they didn't do it at the same time.
Probably for the intersection.
Yeah, but
The intersection, I know they moved
They
that.
added power off the Cape Downing Road.
I'm sorry?
They added power off the Cape Downing Road for Amazon.
Yeah.
So they came down off the power lines off, the highway, down Cape Downing, and then down this road. So I don't, that's why I don't know why they didn't do those at the same time.
Or because they built the graveyard, it was a back there. They kept them, they moved those up and then it was there.
Yeah. I guess, and then my next question, you know, would be that lift station, right there. Is that going to be, you guys maintaining that?
Right.
Okay, so the lift station's going to stay on your property, it would be your responsibility to maintain that right there. Right, and then, I don't know what we need in place, I don't know exactly, but say these people plan, right, to the full chain. Obviously, they're going to have their own little lift station too, but, you know, I want to make sure that, say you run with a turkey and believes this location or something like that, you know, that this entire line is, you know, is going to still operate. Because obviously they're going to have their own lift station that can pump in here.
Right, it's just like a, you know, like a low pressure.
Yeah.
So we would add a small lateral here, up over here. A little lateral here. You get the idea
Yep.
there. And this is really, I thought this right, this would actually continue a little further. We may have another lateral, we could have a going back ahead, and at the end of the year. So that's what you would be responsible for the main and the laterals to the property line. At each of these points, there would be another valve, because they want to pay their storage building, you can go over there, turn that valve off, and they're in trouble. So that is all your property, your maintenance, from there to.
No, I guess my only concern is, say this is an inch, say they have an inch or an inch and a half, right, that runs to their
Inch and a
property.
quarter, yeah.
Yeah, so say they would do an inch and a quarter, right? You know, I just want to make sure, as you pointed earlier, that this isn't gonna come out and it dries out, you know, say these people, you know, it's an elderly couple, they're. Right.
Now, we run a 2-inch here, the way these low pressure ones are designed, so you look at each of the quarter extent that you have in your house. They design them for approximately a third of them running at one time. So if you had 3 houses on here, which is some of you have, you would design a pipe for one of them running, you know, with the side one, because then all 3 would run at the same time. So that would be an inch and a quarter. So 2 inches is more accurate to handle if you have 2 kick on, 3 kick on at the same time. So if you put 4 inches in there, then you need 30 units. I think you need 19 of them around the time. You know, there's a whole thing. So it's, I don't want to put a 4-inch in there, even though that may be what you need down the road.
Down the road, yeah.
So we put one next to it that's empty. If you,
Yeah, I mean, that would be, that would be. Yeah, but I wouldn't want anything more than 2 inches. is what I'm saying. That's why I want to use that for oversized, same case when the leaves, and then,
Yeah, no,
I mean, that they can't push.
Because it would just be a problem if you before it just didn't.
Oh, 100%, I agree.
But we could put a 2-inch in and a 4-inch next to it, so that if what you want to expand, we can pick up. The trench is open.
I think we would appreciate something like
The
that.
trench is open.
So for concept, is everybody okay with the concept of moving, continuing adding more lines in and getting to per building?
I have no issues out from an engineering standpoint. My only thing would just know that, we would be on the hook for maintaining that. If it's in the right of way, we do it to keep ownership. So as long as it's something that the council wants to do, that would be the number one thing. But everything's sound. I don't see any issues with it.
Your idea would be eventually to have a pump station here if we're going to go further down the line?
This entire area, obviously everyone knows what's going on in planning and zoning, and how in this area there's been a lot of developing. It's a tough area to figure out. I mean, we spoke on phone, and they stopped previously at that manhole for a reason. It's
200 feet.
yeah, for this area to be serviced, I mean, we would need some kind of large-scale lift station that would service the entire area. Just long-term, you'd want to have gravity come down to whatever the low point would be down here. Then you'd have a larger lift station that would then basically do what they have proposed, but say instead of being 2 inch, it was a 4 inch or an 8 inch or something like that. That depending on whatever, but that would be a future, that would be.
Right, there's a lot of volume of business in that area.
Yeah.
Would want to tie in.
Yeah, and it would provide an opportunity, just a better opportunity for people in this area that wasn't there.
I'd ask that we read the POCD to see what we're going over there, because if you're adding that over there, what else can you get in there for other businesses along that?
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the POCD.
It opens up the door, especially if they're going to say run a 4-inch line, just, in their trench or whatever, down to wherever they need to get it. It saves us that distance and it sets us up for in the future, maybe down here somewhere, we want to do one station. I don't see any conflict. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. Even though it's servicing their property, we can town, responsibility.
Yeah. I would like to have a list of concerns you have, and to be able to work with them to see what we can do to minimize those concerns.
I'll help you guys tonight. You like it?
I think everybody
Yeah,
agrees.
I have no issue.
It's to work with staff, but also that you support them, supporting our building. I'm not right now until we get someone to say, yes, you can do so.
So, my question is, who's next? Is it building?
It would be building, yeah, it would be planning and zoning. Yeah.
So just so you know, that's really the first thing we're going to do is get our building permit going, get a foundation in, around the road, hopefully that gets resolved. And I wrote a letter, or the owner wrote a letter, and it's in your package saying that we are under doing this. So with that, and these plans, and our ongoing discussions, we will get this done. And we try to do it.
Okay, of some sort. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
I think we're good on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lot of different things to consider, obviously, like I said, the POCD doesn't then match into what the next step would be of putting that 4-inch continuation, because now you're talking about, I know it's difficult for the residents who doesn't really know what's going on, but the issue was that they're making an offer to continue a sewer pipe and do it properly to continue on from where the Carbox Road, or not Millbrook Road, is right now with the lights, continue up the road. It would stop a little short of what we'd love to have service, which would be the Harrington Trailer Park, because that would add a lot of value to that area and help those residents in that area. And if you think about it, where that is right across the street then from your Cape County Road, which has all those businesses right there. That's why I was saying, let's take a look at the POCD, look to make sure we're doing the right thing, move forward with it. But I don't see any reason why we should stop moving this forward. It does help a lot of people.
I agree.
We could make a motion for support for the project to move forward, and that better would go to the building inspector. I would address them to the building inspector support.
And then get a list.
We'll continue working with Roma and the town.
Yeah. make that motion.
I'll second that, Kevin.
Try to wrap it up as best I can. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those are the two items for WPCA. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
We're now adjourned at 8:05.